double-digit Ks.
We're busting ours to kick yours.
Fun to watch.
Minus 15.
Respect all, fear none.
Into the upper deck.
Intensity is not a perfume.
Oh, mercy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome into MASN All Access. I'm your host, Paul Mancano, from my apartment on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that from wherever you're joining us, you're safe, healthy, and you're with your family. In just a bit, we're going to be reviewing the 2019 seasons of two top Orioles prospects as we continue our 20 and 20 series. We'll also have for you an interview I did with Buck Britton, Bowie Bay Sox manager, back in Sarasota in February. But first, a year ago tomorrow, the Orioles selected the contract of Stevie Wilkerson from the Norfolk Tides. Stevie, prior to 2019, had been known as Steve, at least to those covering him. But the addition of the I in his first name wasn't the only change Stevie made in 2019. He transitioned from the infield to the outfield. He made a few appearances on the mound, and he became a Swiss Army knife for Brandon Hyde's defense. Here's a breakdown of Stevie's games and where he played those games. In the field, he played the majority in center, 72 games, 29 games in left, 10 games in right, 12 games at second base. He was the designated hitter for one game, and of course, Wilkerson pitched 4 games for a grand total of 5 1/3 innings and 6.75 ERA. Now we bring in Stevie Wilkerson, who joins us via Zoom call. Stevie, thanks so much for hopping on here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul.
So where have you been and how have you been spending your time during baseball's hiatus?
Yeah, so I've been up in Arlington Heights as of lately. I actually stayed down in Sarasota through the end of what would have been spring training, and an extra week after that, actually, just because it was so nice to be able to go outside. My wife and my dog were able to come down, and we had a house rented down there for spring training, and back up here in Arlington Heights, we just have an apartment. So the idea of being locked up in one or the other, I took my pick and took the house. So it was good, though. But then, yeah, I had to get back here and, get to work a little bit. Fortunately, I've been able to get my training in and everything. So spending my time doing that, doing a little reading. And, yeah, that's about it.
Nice. And I think the house is a great choice considering what I see of your home decorations. Looks like you got a nice setup there.
Thanks, man.
So I want to talk a little bit about your 2019 season because it was a wild 2019 season that you spent up in the bigs. You played over 100 games in the outfield despite the fact that you had never played a game in the outfield in the bigs prior to 2019. What kind of learning curve did you have in 2019 as you learned all these new positions, all 3 outfield positions?
Yeah, I guess I just kind of learned to roll with the punches, and the idea I kind of had was do whatever is asked of me. The first day I got up there, Hyder said, how do you feel in center? I said, oh, my first 9 innings went well. I don't know if he knew that was the first 9 innings of my life, but the day before I had played there in AAA. And yeah, it was definitely a lot of learning curves along the way. I had to put a lot of work in out there before the games and everything, and with our outfield coach, Arnie, and the help of some other guys out there. There was a lot to learn, but yeah, it was a fun ride, man.
Nice. So going into this past off season, how did you train defensively? Because you played all these different positions. Did the coaching staff kind of give you an idea of, hey, here's where we might use you more in 2020, and here's where we might not use you, so don't spend quite as much time on that position?
Actually, not really. I think it was kind of depending on, how personnel would shake out throughout the offseason, what guys would be traded, what guys would still be around, and what my status would be as well. But, I kind of just went into it in my defensive work as trying to get a little something in at every spot, whether it's double play feeds from each infield spot, tracking balls down in the outfield, getting a little, length to my throws. I tried to do as much of everything I could at each position, man.
And you made some memorable catches out in center field and out in left and right as well from the last game of the season at Fenway Park, of course. it seemed like you went for every ball all out, kind of like how Austin Hayes also played in the outfield. Is that the kind of style that you wanted to go into? You made a decision that you were going to be that kind of player and that kind of defensive player in the outfield?
I think I've always done a pretty good job of laying it all on the line. I think sometimes in the outfield I was a little bit over aggressive to a fault. I banged myself up on the wall a little bit, and at the same time probably gave away an extra base here and there, which definitely needed to be cleaned up. So man, I like to play the game with intensity and with great effort, but I think learning to control that and use it at the right time and is all part of the learning curve out there.
Absolutely. I want to throw it back to last July because one of the many positions you played last year was, of course, pitcher. You became the first player ever in baseball history to record a save as a position player. You came in from center field against the Angels in the 16th inning, got a 1-2-3 inning. What kind of memories do you have of that incredible and incredibly long game?
Yeah. It was crazy, man. I was actually just kind of recapping it. And going back to outfield play, I definitely misplayed a ball in the 7th inning. And I think we were up 2-1 at the time and a couple runs scored. I can't remember if we went down 3-2 or 4-2, or 4-3, whatever it was. I definitely misplayed a ball to give up the lead. And then right after that in the 8th inning, I hit a double to tie the game back up. So before all the hoopla of extra innings, it was a crazy game before that for the team and for me personally. But man, I remember when Hyder was giving me the nod there at the end of the game, a lot of emotions were in. I think he told me we were out of arms. Tanner had come in right before me, and he had thrown the day before as well, at least an inning, maybe 2. And so he was done after his inning as well. So Hyder was like, "Hey, you're up, man." And then when VR hit that was a 2-run jack, I think, Hyder's like, "You still got this?" I'm like, "Let's do it, man."
And of course, relievers have plenty of time to warm up before they come out of the bullpen. You're coming in from center field. Did you get enough warm-up tosses in to feel like you were totally ready? Because you had done that before, but you still can't get a full bullpen session in before you can get your work in on the mound.
Well, Paul, not much warming up is necessary to throw 55, but I don't really think I got any off the mound in before right there, going out to warm up for the inning. But yeah, I was plenty warm and,
nice.
Whatever.
Did it make it any sweeter, the fact that your last out of that save was a future Hall of Famer in Albert Pujols?
Well, it did. Yeah, for sure. Especially looking back, at the time it was kind of like, hey, all I'm trying to do is throw the ball over the plate here. I don't know what I'm doing. But, going back and looking at it, for Pujols to be the last out there, it'll be pretty cool to tell the kids and just to have in my pocket, Pretty cool moment.
And of course, you were throwing about 58 miles an hour. The hitters were their timing was just way off. Did you throw in any off-speed pitches? Because it seemed like the 58-mile-an-hour pitch was your fastball.
Yeah, I think they were all about the same. I think I took a little extra off, some of them here and there. But, there were actually, there were times where I tried to go in and out a little bit. I remember when it was 2-0 to Calhoun, and I unintentionally threw the first 2 off the plate outside. And I was like, dang, up until then I hadn't really had trouble just like putting it over the plate, I'm like, shoot, I got to start this one in a little bit. So I did start it in, and I actually still think it was a ball inside, but I got that one across there, and I'm like, oof, okay, we're back. But yeah, no, I just tried to float them in there, man.
Well, they worked, and it looked great. And of course, it was a great win in that 2019 season. Ended pretty late on the East Coast. I know a lot of people were listening to the post-game show as they were driving to work the next morning, but it was all worth it. I mean, is that one of your favorite memories of the 2019 season?
Definitely. Yeah, that was probably the coolest moment, I'd have to say.
Nice. So have you had time during this hiatus, got plenty of time on your hands, of course, like we all do. Have you had time to work on your pitching repertoire, maybe add some miles an hour to that fastball?
Yeah, I think if I wanted to bump it up a little bit, I could. I'd hope at least. But I don't know. Yeah, sure. I still mess around and relive the glory moments. But no, there's a lot of work to be done everywhere else right now. And, I'm trying to stay focused during this time and be ready to play some ball when that time comes.
Nice. And what kind of stuff, have you been following in terms of the way that Major League Baseball has been able to give back during this time? And what kind of things have you seen you or your teammates do during this time to give back to a community that, everybody is struggling a little bit right now?
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles have done a great job at recognizing, our first responders and healthcare workers and pharmacists and volunteers and everybody that's helping out during this tough time. And, some of the guys are doing things on their own and through the team, whether it's phone calls or whatever it may be. We're trying to at least extend our support to those people and our sincere thanks to everyone that's helping everyone during this time, because that's really what it's all about. We all need each other to step up and help out, and so I think the league and the Orioles are doing a really good job of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stevie, for hopping on here, MASN All Access. We can't wait for baseball to return. Can't wait to see you back on the field, whatever position you may be playing.
Yeah, likewise, Paul. Thanks for having me, man.
We're rolling right along with our 20 in 20 series with two top Orioles prospects today, the first of which is an exciting outfielder, Austin Hays. Austin Hays knows how to make a strong impression.
At the wall, up, and a great catch! Austin Hays robs him!
Hays built a lengthy highlight reel with catch after leaping catch in September.
Another one! Austin Hays!
If I have the chance to, you're going to see me flying through there and rolling around on the ground or banging into a wall. Just it's part of my game.
His bat was up to the task, too.
And goodbye, home run! There is Hays magic!
The 24-year-old hit over 300 in his second big league stint.
Hays continues his unbelievable run.
If he can stay healthy, Hays could be a mainstay in center. Hays' 21 games in Baltimore in 2019 were memorable, to say the least. A .309 average, 4 homers, 13 RBIs, a .947 OPS, 2 stolen bases, and about 14 million web gems. He was also in the 85th percentile among major leaguers in sprint speed, according to StatCast. He was scheduled to be the Orioles' opening day center fielder and potentially their leadoff hitter in 2020. Next up is another pitching prospect in a suddenly deep Orioles farm system in terms of pitching, Dean Kremer. He wasn't the central piece of the Manny Machado deal in 2018, but Dean Kremer is making the trade look better and better for the Orioles with each start. Kremer rebounded from an oblique injury to earn his first promotion to AAA in 2019.
I got off to a slow start because of the injury, and then by the time June rolled around, it started to click. Everything just felt a lot better.
Kremer's curveball is ready for the show, and his other off-speed pitches are coming along.
Mainly focused on slider and changeup and getting a feel for those and trying to get consistency with them.
A strong start in Norfolk could earn Kremer a call to the bigs before long. Kremer made 15 starts in Bowie before getting the call up to Norfolk. All told, the 24-year-old made 21 starts with 9 wins and a 3.72 ERA. He had 122 strikeouts as well. That comes out to almost 10 Ks per 9 innings. Kremer followed up the 2019 regular season with 6 games in the Arizona Fall League, where he compiled a sub-250 ERA, subsequently made the Orioles' 40-man roster in the offseason. Well, 2 managers coached both Dean Kremer and Austin Hays in 2019, Norfolk's Gary Kendall and Bowie's Buck Britton. Back in Sarasota in February, I sat down with Buck, where he was serving as an assistant coach for the big league camp. It was an opportunity that Buck was not taking for granted. Joined now on MASN All Access by Buck Britton, who is the reigning Eastern League Manager of the Year with the Bowie Bay Sox. Buck, thanks so much for sitting down here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the honor. Your first year in Bowie and you win Eastern League Manager.
Yeah, it was a crazy year, man. But I mean, you don't win that thing without good players and the supporting staff. So it was was a nice honor, though.
Have you had some time to reflect on that season? You won 30 games in the first half, 46 in the second half.
Yeah.
Have you reflected at all on that season?
I had a little bit of time to do that. I went to Baltimore for a couple of weeks, and then after that season, I went to the Dominican and was there for 2.5 months. But yeah, once I had some time, it was pretty crazy to think where we started and where we were at the end.
And speaking of the Dominican, you had some experience there as well as a player, correct?
Yeah.
What was that experience like going back as a coach?
It was different. It was nice that I had been there before to kind of know what that culture's about and how the game's played down there. What an opportunity I had. I went down there to be a bench coach, and our manager was Jace Tingler, who ended up getting the San Diego Padres job.
That's
so
right.
About 10 games in, I took over as the manager, and so I got a lot of valuable experience down there, yeah.
There have been a lot of changes throughout the Orioles minor league system as guys start to move up. One guy who was added to your staff is Justin Ramsay, who was under Kyle Moore down in Delmarva Shorebirds as the pitching coach. What do you know about Justin? You guys were up at Oriole Park at Camden Yards together talking to fans, but what do you know about him as a coach and as a person?
Well, I'm really getting to know him as a person, and he just seems like a down-to-earth guy. Just another guy that seems to be who these guys are bringing in as a new staff. Egoless. It's all about the player. Talking to K-Mo, he's super prepared. I saw, the work he was able to help put in with those guys down there in Delmarva, and I'm excited to kind of see him go to work with this new level.
And now you are in Major League camp, getting to join Brandon Hyde for the second year in a row. What does it mean to get that invitation to help work with these major leaguers?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, Hyder, he's been awesome since day one, since he's gotten here. He's very welcoming. He treats everybody just like as if they're on his own staff, in Baltimore. So it's been awesome. It's a great opportunity, and looking forward to kind of get rolling.
And there are some guys here in camp that you worked with when you were with the Bowie Bay Sox. You got Zach Lowther, Alex Wells, even Hunter Harvey for a little bit. In that instance, are you able to give Brandon Hyde and the Major League coaching staff a little bit of intel maybe on some of the guys that you worked with personally?
Yeah, we have a meeting before camp starts, and we go over everybody and the managers and pitching coaches that had players last year. They kind of throw their 2 cents in. I hope he takes my opinion, but no, it's good, and everything we have to say about these guys is positive, and it's kind of cool to watch these guys go through, a lot of them, their first Major League camp. And know that they were in Bowie with me last year, so it's cool.
And I'm sure it helps them to have a guy like you, who they've worked with in the past, in the coaching rooms. Have you had an opportunity to pick Brandon Hyde and the coaching staff's brain at all on how they like to run their camp?
Yeah, we talk all the time. That's the one thing. He's so approachable. I like to pay attention and see how Cousins does the schedule and how Hyde likes things run and kind of the verbiage they use up here, and just to kind of get a sense of what they want out of their players, and so I can go back to AA and hopefully get these guys going on the right path, and when they get up to Baltimore, it can be a smooth transition.
And just from my observations, it seems like Hyde incorporates everybody, every single coach who's here has some kind of job, and they're always doing something. Do you feel that way as well, that you guys are well incorporated here at camp?
100%, and I think that's one of the coolest things is that, it seems like everybody's a part of this. It doesn't matter where you're at, AA manager, high A manager, it doesn't matter. Everybody's a part of what Baltimore's trying to do.
Of course, Brandon Hyde, as a manager, worked his way all the way up through the minor league system. Does that kind of give you somebody that you can aspire to and look towards as somebody who really worked his way up to eventually become a major league manager?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of gives you, not hope, I don't know if that's a good word, but to see somebody that's gone through the grind, played a little bit, and then worked his way through the minor leagues. I mean, that's ultimately, that would be a dream come true to get a job like that in the big leagues, but to kind of see all the different things he's done and how it's kind of molded him as a manager it's pretty cool.
I want to talk about the hashtag Girl Dad, because that's something that you got to be a part of after, of course, the passing of Kobe Bryant. So many people on social media were using that as an opportunity to show how they have supported their daughters over the years. Why did you choose to get involved with that hashtag?
Well, we had our first baby girl. She's 7 months old, so I'm kind of new to the dad game, but it's awesome, man. You don't really realize how much they change your life until you actually have one and how special they are, boys and girls. But my family, we have a lot of boys in our family, and a lot of us Zach's having girls, my older brother's having girls, but so it's something that the Britton family isn't necessarily used to, but it's awesome, man, and watching her grow and do new tricks and stuff it's pretty cool, and I can't wait to see kind of what she turns into as we go on.
How much are you looking forward to your second season in Bowie? All the exciting young players are rising through the ranks very quickly. Are you excited to get your hands on a new group of guys?
Yeah, that's the coolest thing. It's the turnover, the constant turnover at any level. But I really like that AA level. I think that's where guys, it's a jumping off point for the big leagues, and guys are really starting to mold into the players that they're going to be. And then to see that transition for these guys, it's pretty cool.
Well, we're excited to see what you guys do in Bowie in your second year there. Justin Ramsay joining that coaching staff, should be good things to come for the Bowie Bay Sox.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Buck Britton joining us here. Thank you so much on MASN All Access. Don't forget, we have shows for you every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and we also have podcasts coming your way every Wednesday. Myself and Bobby Blanco are your two hosts. We're going through 20 and 20, talking more about Austin Hayes and Dean Kramer on this week's episode. You can catch the MASN All Access podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Watch it on Facebook or YouTube. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can get the MASN All Access podcast. Thanks, as always, to Bobby Blanco and Hannah Broder behind the scenes. Again, stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. There's only one way we're getting through this, and that is together. We'll see you tomorrow.